My name is Sana Srivastava and I'll be teaching you economic and social development. So first of all, we'll be dealing with the basic part of economics. Then we'll move on from basic economics like what is national income, what is GDP, what are basics, what is demand and supply. Then we'll move on to the some advanced level topics like inclusive growth, infrastructure, etc., which covers major part of our main syllabus. Okay. Then we'll start in this class. So what is economy, economics, like for example, what are the sectors of the economy, how we calculate national income, what is GDP, what is GNP. These are the basic terminology. How many of you from economics background? No one. Okay. So relative good knowledge about economics in 11th, 12th or maybe in graduation of micro and macroeconomics. So first of all, we'll discuss sources of this particular subject, economic and social development. So that is quite different from, we can say, pure economics, because in pure economics we have a lot of graphical representation, a lot of mathematical formulas. But for the UPSC perspective, we have only theoretical aspects of economics. So we will start with the main concept, that what is economy and what is economics. So economics is a subject discipline, and economy we can say for a particular country, like Indian economy, Chinese economy, US economy. Are you getting my point? Then apart from this, we can say that in economics, what is the definition of economics? UPSC will never gonna ask definition of economics, but what is the main concept of this syllabus or this subject discipline? So it is the study of scarce resources, because we know that resources are scarce in this country. So study of scarce resources in order to satisfy unlimited human wants. Like for example, we can say that India is a developing country. We cannot invest in every sector. We cannot invest simultaneously in agriculture, in industry, or we can say in service sectors also. So we need to pick out some particular sectors in order to invest first in that sector that has more ripple effect, or what we call domino effect. Getting my point? So for example, for India's perspective, it is infrastructure. You remember in 2000 or 2002, or the period of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, we invested in road projects, because road projects, when we develop infrastructure, starting with the road development, it will have more ripple effect. How, for example, can you give me any example? How road is very important in infrastructure sector. If we developed, suppose if we developed ports, airports, that would have the same effect. Can we say no? Road is better. Roadways, the development of Golden Quadrilateral, development of North-East and West-South corridor, these corridors are very important, because it will help in agriculture sector, it will help in rural connectivity, because we know that infrastructure is the most important part of development of a developing country. If we consider another economy, like for example USA, the model will not be the same as of India. Getting my point? Okay. So these are the aspects we can discuss. First of all, we will discuss sectors of the economy. So there are three sectors. What are those? Primary, secondary and tertiary. But we can also refer as another name by agriculture sector, manufacturing sector and service sector. Do you know why? Is there any synonym like primary sector? Can we use agriculture sector simultaneously as a synonym? No. Why? If I will say agriculture sector or primary sector, will it be the same meaning? No. Why? Because in primary sector, the contribution to our GDP from our primary sector is 18%. But contribution of agriculture in our India's GDP is 14%. Although agriculture consists major part of primary sector, that is why we can use roughly or loosely we can say primary sector as well as agriculture sector, because primary sector includes other things also, like animal husbandry, like horticulture, like fisheries. Are you getting my point? Okay. So these are the important things. That is why we mainly focused on primary, secondary and tertiary or in loose language we can use agriculture sector, manufacturing sector and services sector, because they consist major part of that particular sector. So first of all, we will discuss circular flow. This is a basic part of economics, but this is very, very important in order to understand the correlation of the subject discipline. Correlation is important because you will get questions in preliminary. You will get questions in preliminary about statements. You will not get direct questions. Okay. So in direct questions, we can say, like they will ask which sector comes under this particular sector. These are not the questions of UPSC examination. They will ask statements. So in order to solve those statements, you need to know proper correlation. Correlation of interest rate with RBI's rate change, interest rate and the credit growth, interest rate and the deposit, exchange rate and the domestic economy. So these correlations are very, very vital. Okay. So first of all, we'll start with the two sector economy. The major two sector of Indian economy, or we can say any particular economy, is first is firms and second is households. So we'll draw one flow chart. Firms and households. Okay. This relationship is very, very important to understand. Like, what are households? If we say example of households, we are the examples of households. If we say about firms, what's the difference between firm and industry? What's the difference between firm and industry? Industry, we can say, I'll give you one example. Industry, we can say that industry is a car industry, steel industry. But the firm is Maruti Suzuki, Hyundai, Toyota. These are the example of firm. Industry is car industry. Coaching industry. Kalan Academy is a firm. Industry is coaching industry. Okay, getting my point? Now, for example, what are the relationship between firms and the households? What household provide to the firms? Labor. Yes, labor is one of the example. It means factor services. We provide factor services. Now the question arises, what is factor services? What are factors? First of all, these are factors contributing to the production. So factor of production, have you ever heard about this word, factor of production? Factor of production like labor, capital, land. These are the major factors that contributes to the production of goods and services. Getting my point? Which one? Labor, capital, third one is land. Fourth one in modern economist, entrepreneur. Okay, we'll leave entrepreneur for a few minutes because we are dealing with two sector economy. So what household gives to firms is simple, factor services. Factor services. In return, what firms give to household? If you are giving some kind of services, you will get some remuneration. What we call factor payments. But there are four kind of payments. So we write factor payments. ठीक है, I'll make you write, don't worry. इतना flow chart बना लो, then I'll dictate everything, each and everything. ठीक. So factor, there are four types of factor payment. First one is wages. Labor gets the wages. Then rent. Rent you will earn over land. What about interest? Interest on capital and profit on risk taking. So these are the 4 types of factor payments. There is no 5th type of factor payment. There are only 4. ठीक है? Is it clear till this point? Any doubt? Make arrows very carefully, because this is circular flow, no beginning, no end. So now in return, what firms will give to the households, because they are getting factor services, it means they are using those kind of services in making some kind of goods and services. So obviously firms will sell what? Goods and services. So you write goods and services to household, or we can say selling goods and services. In return, household gives something to firms. Obviously, if you purchase some goods and services from the market, you have to pay for it. So payment by receiving these goods and services. So you can write payment for goods and services. This is a simple 2-sector model. Now, if we include banking sector or financial sector into it, the equation will change a little bit. So in between, we can write bank, or you will find in NCERT financial sector, but in simple sense we can write bank. Now it is very simple, so you will tell me what's the relationship between household and bank. Savings from the one side will give savings. In return, what we expect from bank? Loans, or in crude sense we can say borrowings. So you write borrowings. On the other side, what's the relationship between banks and firms? What's the relationship between banks and firms? Same. Because firms also save. Savings, or in economics terms we can say retained earnings. Have you ever heard about this word, retained earnings? Like suppose for example, I'm running a firm, I've earned around 20 lakhs of profit. I've distributed 12 lakhs. So 8 lakhs I've saved because I've earned that in the previous year. 20 lakhs I've earned, 12 lakhs I've distributed, then again 8 lakhs I've saved for further investment. That 8 lakhs known as retained earnings. Again borrowings, obviously. Firms needs borrowings from bank in order to invest in the economy. Simple. Now till this point everything is clear. Now we'll include government sector into it. If you have a space, just go above that, above this. So I have to rub it. This is your government sector. Now what's the relationship between government and bank? Anyone? Simple enough. What's the relationship between government and bank? Yes? Borrowings and savings, because government is also saving in some banks. Like for example, can you give me any example of recent current affairs? Government is saving in the banks. or government is borrowing from banks. Like in when we say that Iran nuclear deal हो रही थी जो भी US and Iran के बीच में, then after that there was some restriction on Iran, so India has to pay in terms of rupees because America put some restrictions on payment of crude oil to Iran in terms of dollars. Then again we took the shelter of euro. Then again European Union said that you will pay 55% of your total amount in terms of euro. So it means another 45% we have to pay in some other currency. So we paid in terms of rupees. So India took, or government of India took loan from UCO Bank. Getting my point? So savings and borrowings. Okay? Till this point everything clear? Now what's the relationship between government and household? Government and household. Taxes. So here, shall I write direct taxes or indirect taxes? Direct, only direct. In return, households are getting something from government. What? Subsidies. Any other thing apart from subsidies? Subsidies plus transfer payment. What are transfer payments? Transfer payments are like pension, unilateral transfers. So government cannot expect anything in return. Getting my point? Like pensions. In other countries, like in Scandinavian countries, people are getting unemployment allowances. Like in the last to last year, universal basic income. Universal basic income mentioned in the economic survey. Universal basic income is the example of transfer payment. That is unconditional. It means you cannot expect from the household that they will give something in return. So transfer payments are unilateral. Now what are the relationship between firms and government? Firms and government, any example from your side? Simple enough. Taxes. So here, direct taxes or indirect taxes? Both. Okay. So here you write direct taxes plus indirect. Because firms also paying GST as well as corporate income tax. So here both direct and indirect tax will come. Any doubt till this point? कुछ भी हो तो पूछ लेना. ठीक है. Again, government to firm. Because indirect taxes we are not paying directly. The name suggested, indirect taxes. You are not paying, or you are not liable to pay the same kind of tax, GST. You are not liable to pay to the government directly. You will pay to some shopkeeper, some restaurant or hotel में जा रहे हैं तो you are getting services. So you are paying to that hotel or restaurant or particular shopkeeper. Who is liable to pay that GST? Shopkeeper. You are not. Indirect taxes, the definition. When I will teach you taxation, I will teach you the definition of direct and indirect tax. But for today's perspective, you will understand direct taxes is directly to the government. It means individuals are liable to pay that tax. If you will not pay direct tax, who will be liable? Who will be punishable? Only households, individuals. If shopkeeper does not pay GST, who is liable? Shopkeeper, not household. आपने तो pay किया है. You have paid your part, 12%, 18%. But if someone is not paying GST, who is liable? Shopkeeper. That is why the definition suggested is an indirect tax. Its incidence and impacts are different, but I am not using these kind of words in the first class. Okay? So government from firms. Yes, an example. What's the relationship between government and firms? Think about it. Very simple. Subsidies, yes. So here subsidies include LPG subsidies, but here subsidies are different, like free electricity to farmers, cheap electricity to MSME industries. Getting my point? Come through bank, because bank will give ultimately loan. Who will approve that loan? Bank. NABARD refinancing, do you remember? Subsidies. Okay. Now the important sector will come into the picture. That is external sector, foreign sector. This is tricky because questions are keep on coming in preliminary examination. So you write external sector. Yes. What's the relationship between firms and external sector? Note the relationship. Firms and external sector. Any guess? Investment. Then any other thing? Yes, that's providing services. Any other thing? Export and import. Simple. Firms engaged with external sector, in simple sense we can say firms will export to the external sector and they will receive imports. Suppose I am running a car industry and getting some kind of raw material from Japan, from South Korea, or even from USA. So that will come under the category of import. So here you will write imports. This one is exports. Simple enough, no need to explain this thing. Now the tricky question come here. Households and external sector. Remittances on the one side, on the other side. So where remittances will come, on the up or down? Downsides. So here you write remittances, and what will come here? Services, we can say. This one particular word for it. In simple sense, from household to external sector, we are exporting professionals or human capital. Like all those NRIs working in other countries, for example USA, they will come under this category, exporting working professionals. See? So those services provided by household to external sector, like freelancing, some people are doing freelancing directly for US companies. So here you write remittances. And on the upside you write outflow of human capital. This completes our flow chart. If you have any doubt, you can ask now, otherwise I'll dictate. No doubt? Now, if we have foreign banks, these are foreign remittances that will also come via bank. We are not giving directly to the bank account, but there is no particular relationship in economic subject between bank and foreign sector, external sector. It's a vague term. External sector includes all firms. External sector includes all developmental institutions like World Bank, IBRD. It will also include foreign professionals also. So these are vague terms. We cannot say direct relationship between banks. See? Shall I dictate? So right. Heading is circular flow of income. Circular flow of income. So we'll write in bullet points. Number one is it is a circular flow because it is a circular flow because there is no beginning, there is no beginning and no end. There is no beginning and and no end end. Next point. It shows the relationship between different sectors of the economy. It shows the relationship between different sectors of the economy. In bracket you can write households. It shows the relationship between different sectors of the economy. In bracket household, firms, comma government and external sector. Next one. The relationship between households and firms, the relationship between households and firms is as follows. Okay. So we'll write A, B, C, D. Households provides factor services. Household provides factor services to firms. Household provides factor services to firms. In return, they are getting what? Factor payments. In return they are getting factor payments. So in bracket you write wages for labor. In bracket you write wages for labor, comma, rent for land, comma, interest on capital, and fourth, profit earned by entrepreneur. Bracket close. Next point, it means B. Firms are providing goods and services. Firms are providing goods and services to households, and in return they are getting, or they are receiving, payment for selling those goods and services. Next bullet point. If financial sector comes into the picture, the role of banks is an important one, and acted as an intermediary acted as an intermediary between households and firms, in order to provide credit, in bracket you write borrowing, in order to provide credit, in bracket you write borrowing, and receiving savings from households as well as firms. Next bullet. In a three-sector economy, the role of government in a three-sector economy, the role of government is vital. In a three-sector economy, the role of government is vital in providing subsidies to households and firms, and in return government is receiving the amount collected from taxes, in bracket you write direct tax from individuals, or direct tax from households, लिख लो, direct taxes from households, and both direct and indirect from firms. Say clear? Bracket close. What was the last line? We have written this subsidy part. Okay. We have written that subsidies part. Okay. Now next bullet point. If we include fourth sector in the circular flow of income, that is external sector. So the relationship between firms and external sector is of receiving imports and giving exports. Full stop. The relationship between households and external sector is an important one from the perspective of developing economies, like India, comma, India exports its working professionals. India exports its working professionals, in bracket you write human capital. It's working professionals, and in return they are getting foreign inward remittances, and in return they are getting foreign inward remittances. So in bracket you write earning foreign exchange reserves. Earning foreign exchange reserves. Earning foreign exchange reserves. Close the bracket. So this completes our discussion on circular flow. I hope it makes sense. I hope it is clear in your mind. These are the sectors of the economy.